You all realize that this month we're working on concepts that will help us in our human natures. You know, we've spent months talking about the potential that we have at the Christhood frequency to walk the higher realms. And we have that information in our consciousness, don't we? We know it's possible to us. We know we'll achieve it one day. But sometimes you just have to open your eyes and look around and realize, yeah, I'm still in the trenches. You know, we're still working our way through the details of human relationships in life. We think that mastering matter is the ultimate goal, but really mastering human relationships, because we are the creators of matter, you know? So you look around the room, every single person in here is contributing to our reality, and as we regard each as valuable, then we can open up our heart to relate in a more open and easy way. So that's our goals. Take a breath. Okay. So we're going to start today, and it's forgiveness and love. Spirit asked me to start with this point, and so I'm going to bring it up now, because apparently it's deep within us. So if we just get it out of the way now, we can move on. Is everybody ready? Yes. Okay. Forgiveness, historically, religiously, is something that you needed to achieve because you were inherently doing something wrong. Do you understand? The whole basis of the Old Testament, the laws, then you had to sacrifice to be forgiven for something that you've done that was not correct. You with me? In Christendom, it's the same thing. Jesus died for our sins so we could be forgiven. Okay. That makes no sense. Never has, never has. So Christendom has created original sin. They've created these ideas that yet again, you have done something inherently within you that is wrong. Therefore, you need to be forgiven. So forgiveness in the cells of our DNA has been an idea that there was something wrong within us and others. Okay? I want you to understand that in the perspective of the Old Testament, when the first 10 Commandments were given, Moses had taken out 1 million men, plus women and children. How many people is that? A lot. That's a lot. These people had never had laws. They didn't have sacrifices. They didn't have rituals. They didn't have a way of worshiping God. They worshiped an unknown God when they wanted to. That was what they did. There were no laws. He has 2+ million people running around crazy now because they're free. They know nothing about how to govern themselves. Do you hear? And so he goes to God and says, God, how do we govern ourselves? And God says, well, here's some 10 Commandments. But the 10 Commandments were not punished. There was no punishment for the 10 Commandments. You really shouldn't do these things. Thou shalt not. You really shouldn't. There was no punishment. And he gave it to these 3 million people. And they did it anyway. Now we have these laws as ways of creating a government to keep solid these people. Do you understand? Now, if you'd been a slave for 400 years and you were totally free now and had never governed yourselves, we'd all do the same thing. Woohoo! Feels good, I'm doing it. We would do that. So I want you to really hear the laws that have come down through Christendom were just about trying to harness in the inability of the novice man to exercise free will at a win-win level. Now, can we release that? Can we say for a minute, I don't have original sin. I don't need to be forgiven for being human. Can you just say that? I do not need to be forgiven for being human. I am human by divine design. And sometimes I do create interesting things. So that's where we're going next. Those interesting things that we create. All right. Spirit wanted us to start with the very basis from the beginning. We, as humans, act at our level of consciousness or belief system, which we know. When we act in a way that does not support life, there actually is a reason we do it, whether you realize it or not. When you are acting in a way that diminishes the light of another or does not support your light or tears and destroys life, you actually have a belief system in you that makes that happen. You actually believe something. Now, does it bring you the peace, the love that you want? No. Is it therefore a belief system that is valuable to your soul's glory and joy? No. But it's not that we do this by happenstance. We actually have a belief system that makes us, we've chosen to believe that, and we do it. So when we act in a way that does not support life, we're living in that belief system all the way around. When we act in the flow of beliefs that support joy, prosperity, happiness, we are living at that belief system. Which one do you think blocks our experiences? The one that diminishes life. When we act in a way that diminishes life, we block our experiences. I have a really graphic example to give you if you'd like to hear it. I cannot attribute who I heard it from many years ago, but I tell my clients sometimes when they need a big shake, take the cutest puppy dog in the world, most adorable, loving puppy, put it in your basement, do not feed it or visit it for 2 weeks. Do you know what you'll be met with when you open the door? You'll be met with a monster, a dog who's been down there scrapping and trying and tearing things up and trying to find food and trying to find water. Do you understand? Only the few of you understand. You do this to yourselves. When you do this to yourselves and you deny yourself the things that flow through you, that feed you, that anoint you, that uplift you, you're putting yourself in the basement and you're shutting the door. And then you wonder why when you come out you say ugly, awful things to people. You wonder why you create a scenario where you feel like you're taking my freedom. You wonder why you act in these ways. You guys with me? These are perceptions based on positions, based on belief systems. So we just want to be aware of that. And I want you to really hear that many of us need to let parts of ourselves out of the basement. There are pieces and parts of ourselves that we've shut down there that we don't want to deal with. Just let it out. Let it breathe. Okay? That's not the message today. Today we're talking about forgiveness. Most of us, when we think about forgiveness, we think that we've judged someone or something. We need to forgive you because I judged you. But that's really not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is really looking at the energy or decision that you made about your life and pulling it back. If, in fact, you have a belief system that diminishes life, forgiveness is to stop. Pull that energy out of that. You can forgive it. Okay, let me say it differently. The Bible said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish things. Do y'all remember that scripture? And when I was a little girl, I heard that minister talk on it. It scared me to death. I wasn't ready to give up my toys. I really wasn't. But what it means is I'm at a level of consciousness. And when I move to another level of consciousness, I give up those beliefs that were at that level of consciousness. I have to stay here. And when I rise to this new level of consciousness, I look back at where I was 6 months ago, last year, 3 years, 10 years, and I go, oh my God, what did I do? I created those things. I said those things. I have those blocks. I was unkind. Why? And most of us, when we go through that, we go judging ourselves. Ooh, bad, 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 bad. But if we really look at it, we did, said, believed, and acted in that way because that's what we were feeling and believing at that time. We were believing we had to survive. We were believing no one was there for us. We were believing all these things. At this new level of consciousness, we can look back and go, oh, that's not true for me now. That's not true. What do we do with that? Now we forgive. I'm going to forgive myself for believing what I believed, and I'm going to pull the energy back because I'm not going to do that anymore. But if I just acknowledge it and call it bad, it's like my baggage that I'm carrying. I can forgive myself for everything I did last year. Can you guys forgive yourself for last year? Do you realize some of you still carry stuff from kindergarten? You still do. That you haven't forgiven yourself for. I'm going to forgive myself for that. That was a level of consciousness because I want to live at this level of consciousness now. See how easy it is? And when we realize and see what we did, we actually can see the walls that we created. Because what I did when I said what I said created a wall to the flow of goodness to me. It made me shut down. It made me judgmental. It made me whatever. And this could have even been last week. Because we should literally be rising daily, don't you think? Lifting in consciousness daily. So to forgive self, if you can forgive yourself, you can forgive other people. If you cannot forgive yourself, guess what? Nobody gets forgiven in your world. Nobody. And it's really not a matter of going toe-to-toe with yourself or anyone and saying, well, I'm going to be the bigger man. No. The minute you say that, you've just judged them as being the lesser man. They're a child of God. They're a child of God. No, I'm going to pull my energy back. Forgiving self melts the walls that were created when you had those other experiences. Realizing we did not come from love. Anytime we do not come from love, forgive that. You can forgive it. Forgiveness is a tool we activate when we lift into a higher level of consciousness and realize our actions and beliefs were not serving joy. Got it? Okay. In the dictionary, it defines forgiveness as a pardon, a pardoning a fault in someone, or absolving someone from payment. Forgiveness is not making things right. You realize that? I'm not making things right with you. I'm forgiving you. That's human, how we've defined it. Metaphysically, we've defined forgiveness as giving forth good. When I forgive, I am giving forth good from my spirit to the situation, to myself, to my soul, to you. And the energy melts anything that was there that caused a dismissal or a diminishing of life. Okay? All right. When we act in a way that limits love, that hurts or harms, the walls are absolutely created. When we forgive ourselves, we can forgive other people, giving forth the good. All right. When you are at church and meeting people that love you and getting hugs and everything, do you feel good about yourself? Don't you? You feel good about yourself. You're with people that see your light. You're happy. You guys are happy listening out there. You feel good. When you're at home Thursday morning and your meditation didn't get you off the ground and you're having an issue with someone in your life that you want to care for, but dang, it's hard, you know? Do you feel good about yourself? No. No matter, until we are walking through walls and walking on water. There we go. Walking on water and walking through walls. Until we have ascended to the point of light. We always have to monitor that the human nature tends to pull us down into doubt, back into confidence, down into doubt, back into confidence. And when we doubt our goodness, or doubt our light, we're going back into that space where we will likely do something we need to forgive ourselves for. All right? I share this with you to say, we feel good, we feel in the light here. On Thursday morning when it's not working well, this is when, do you get mad at yourself because that meditation was bad? Do you go, God, why am I here? Maybe we can forgive that moment when we are feeling the little bit of doubt. I forgive myself. I know I'm a child of God, and I know I'm going to feel it again. Right now, I want to forgive, give forth good to whatever is annoying me. Give forth good to whatever's annoying me. And it's not an instant pill that you'll feel immediately enlightened and one with God again, but it is a shift back into what? Your higher level of consciousness. You've just shifted back up into where you want to live, not pulled down into doubt and lesser energies. All right. Not creating walls is our whole key with this. When you cannot hit the Christed consciousness, forgiveness is your tool. I wanted to share with you something in the Aquarian, and this is to help us with our human nature. This is in chapter 94. Everybody got it so far? Getting it? Is this information usable in your world? Okay. This is the Sermon on the Mount, and this is the Lord's Prayer. So Jesus is teaching them, they're asking how to pray, and Jesus is teaching them how to pray. So he says this, and we all know the Lord's Prayer, right? Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, holy is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our needed bread. Now we're paying attention. Help us forget the debts that other people owe to us, so that our debts can be discharged. Okay. Help us forget the debts that people owe to us, so that our debts can be discharged. Then it goes on to say, if you would be discharged of all the debts you owe to God and man, the debts you have incurred by willfully transgressing the law, the debts you incurred by willfully saying, I will be in a bad mood, I will diminish your light, I will tear this place up, I will do my will, I will do, because I'm mad, blah, blah, blah. Those are energies that you've literally put into the universe that will return to you multiplied. If you want to be forgiven, if you want to be released from that, we're given a key. This is when you're not aware of it. This is when you're in your human consciousness. You must pass by the debts of every man, for as you deal with men, your God will deal with you. So, when we are doing so good with our own consciousness, and we are sending forth love and forgiving ourselves and loving ourselves, and we have someone that we are in relationship with, trying to love, care about, whatever, come across our path, and act in a way that we absolutely do not agree with. What is Jesus telling us to do? Walk by. Just walk away. Pass by it. The minute you have an opinion of it, you've engaged in it. The minute you judge it, you're judging something within yourself. And the minute you do that, you're going to have to forgive to release it. You're going to have to lift higher than the level of judgment. This is so easy to do if you can remember it. If you can remember it. I remember, this has been maybe 10 years ago. This is when Spirit was anchoring this teaching into me. We had someone at the church who I loved dearly. And she was doing something that was annoying someone. And I wasn't involved. And I remember talking with Patrick on our morning walk, and saying, this is happening. I don't know what to do. And very clearly, the words from heaven came, pass by the debts of others. Give it to me. It is not yours. Pass by. And I'm not here to tell you that it was resolved instantly or harmoniously between those two, because I didn't hear any more about it. Do not know. But it was so easy to say, great, I'm going to walk by that. I'm going to pass by that situation with no opinion at all. It's so easy. You know what the hard part is? Remembering. Because our human nature wants to get involved, especially if it's my house. In my house, my rules, my way, my house. It's God's house. All of our lives is God's house. We live in God's world. How easy is it to pass by the debts of others, and then what do we reap? Our karmas, our things that we've created dissolve. We are receiving that giving forth of love, that forgiving love into our world, because we just walked by and sent forgiving love into theirs. Do you see how easy and simple it is? Okay. In the prayer, if you really look at the prayer, it's really about how to lift into a higher level of consciousness. That was the whole key to his prayer. It wasn't about managing people any longer. Our Father, who art in heaven, you're sacred. Give me what I need today. Let me walk in harmony. If you really break it down, it's lifting and lifting and lifting. It will lift you continually into that oneness with God. And that's what people needed at that time. They didn't need any more rules. They didn't need any more judgment. They didn't need to be forgiven. They needed to lift and rise. when we think about it humanly, I know when you talk about forgiveness, doesn't everybody go to the little thing that Peter said to Jesus? How often should I forgive people, Jesus? Y'all remember that? And because Jesus is talking about love, and Peter's going like, I'm having it up to here. I'm having it up to here with people. And Jesus says to him in our King James Version, 7 times 7. In the original Aramaic, it says this: you should forgive 70 times 70 times 7. Do you know how many times that is? 34,000. One person gets that. It actually, 70 times 70 times 7 actually means forever. There's no end to it, is what they would have heard. They would have understood the idiom. But just doing the math, have you ever forgiven one person that many times? I got a yes.
Automatic if you're married.
Yeah, automatic, okay. Well, now we need to up it to the idiom, which means unlimited and forever. Forever offering, giving forth love instead of judgment. Forever offering, giving forth love instead of thinking someone should live by some rules that someone created in some faith, business, government, social structure. We have to let that go. We have to let all those rules go. They were designed at a point in time to govern. They were not designed for us to become Christed. We have to let that go. 34,300 times we have to pass by, we have to forgive. Part of forgiveness is acknowledgement. If we realize what we have done, if you realize what you have done, if you realize that you've said something to diminish or make small someone else or yourself, just acknowledge it. Oh, goodness. I actually want to not live this. I want to give good to myself for the moment it happened, or give good to the person for the moment they did something, and let the goodness melt any judgment walls that I have created. We sent a meditation out last week to melt walls, didn't we? Last week it was all about loving and melting walls. Loving unconditionally and melting walls. This is our next key. Pass by others, tend your own garden, and the main key, there are no rules. There are choices. What takes you to love? What takes you to joy? What takes you away from joy? If you're continually stuck in doing something that diminishes life, ask yourself, why do I believe this is good for me? Why do I believe this is good for me? Look at your own belief systems. Forgive and release. Forgive and let go. When we forgive, we move into that beautiful space of unconditional love, because we are no longer standing in any position. We are just giving forth our light. And there is a wonderful thing which we are just beginning to understand, and that's the power of forgiving someone near to us who may have in our history diminished. Forgiving ourselves is easy. I forgive myself for being in that situation. That's easy, isn't it? Now I'm going to forgive and give forth good to the person who participated in that situation, because they were doing what they felt they needed to do in the moment. I do not agree or ascribe to it, but I'm going to give forth good and let them go. And do you know what happens when you do that? They feel it. They feel like, oh, I don't feel the intense tie with you anymore. I don't feel like I want to smack you anymore. I feel okay. That is the power that we have to unleash our brother man. Unleash ourselves and unleash our brother man. But who's our first candidate to work with? Ourselves, of course. And we're going to forgive ourselves forever. So let's take this and go within. So just begin to put your feet on the floor and take a breath. Father, we ask that your infinite love, that pure love, just begin to engulf us all. And I ask that it move into our spines, our consciousness, our physical bodies, our emotions. And I want you to allow yourself just to take your focus to your own heart. And just imagine for a minute that you can just step into the energy of the heart within you. Not the physical organs, just the energy of the heart that loves within you. And as you consciously move your awareness there, feel love for self. I love myself. I fill this space with love. And I feel the love that is here. And in this moment, choose what you want to believe. I choose to believe and now take a breath, and we're going to send love and forgiveness to everything that was contrary to this belief you have chosen. I choose to believe I'm the perfect child of God. I will send love and forgiveness to every moment when I did not act as if I believed that. Maybe you've chosen to believe all abundance is yours. Now you send love to every moment that you did not act as if you believed that. I forgive those thoughts. And the walls melt. And now I lift into the reality of the belief I choose. And say it again in your heart. I now choose to believe. And Father, Mother God, I ask you bless each one in their prayer. The beautiful love and light of your Spirit engulf them as they take step after step after step in the manifesting of this reality. We are so grateful that we have choice. We are so grateful. There are no rules. We are good. Breathe in your goodness and let your awareness now come back to the physical body, to the chair that holds you. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Well, I hope you were able to feel that forgiving love moving back into your world. And I hope that you can go forward now and bring to your mind two things. Pass by when others annoy you. Pass by. And love yourself. If there are any pieces of you that need to be brought to the surface, bring them up and love them. This new level of consciousness will show you how to integrate so you can go forward empowered. It's so easy, isn't it? Yes. Yay, God.